But this is the thing. I mean, I understand we need to have, we're going to have to pay for everything. I remember talking to Rishi Sunak when he was Chancellor about, he was Father Christmas, wasn't he? Handing out all the money, the lot. And I remember getting quite tearful when there was that announcement. Look, we're in this together, and if we're going to have lockdown, then we can all share some of the cost. But there seemed to not be a really clear message about how, this is going to cost everything. And I said to him, you're going to be Scrooge when you have to actually pay for this back. And I'm stunned when we have Labour MPs on and many other people who spent the entire last 2 years going, we should lock down more, Why is hospitality allowed to be open? We should stay locked down and send kids home from school and parents having to stay at home as well. And let's spend more on test and trace, all of this, more on PPE. I mean, the government has made lots and lots of errors, but Labour would have done more of it and at higher cost. And now they're all going, isn't it terrible? Because of Liz Truss's mini budget, we're now going to have tax rises. No, you can't turn off the economy and pay people to sit at home and print money for 2 years and then have it cost free.
I think that is also being it's being furthered by a lot of actors in the media who seem to be economically slightly illiterate. But of course, the problem with all of this is you had both political parties in favour of these policies. A lot of journalists as well were championing it, or at the very least going along with it for access.
Not even questioning it.
Absolutely. And ultimately, nobody's going to admit that they're wrong. Because any trust that is there's not a lot, but any residual trust would be shattered if the Tory party turned around and went, this was all a huge mistake, we're sorry, please forgive us. Nobody would forgive them for that.
I would have so much respect for anyone who did that and actually just said that was wrong. But for my thing, I genuinely, if you wanted lockdowns, if you were calling for more lockdowns and didn't want us to come out of lockdowns after the first few weeks, and again, I still regret even supporting that in the first few weeks of the lockdown. I think, I think in retrospect, I wish I'd understood earlier how insane this policy was and why they were not recommended by World Health Organization. But the urge of politicians and the media to just brush that aside, and when they constantly say, because of COVID, no, a virus doesn't cause your economy to shut down. There would have been an economic impact, but look at the countries that had the smallest economic impact, and by the way, the lowest excess death rates from all causes. Sweden, I wonder if that's a coincidence. They've had a lower excess mortality, by the way, than Norway and other, and Finland, for goodness sake, other Nordic countries. So you're comparing like with like. And this is the bizarre thing, is everyone is just putting their heads in the sand, pretending that there wasn't this massive, huge, incredibly dangerous, and by the way, it's going to cost people's lives long term, and people's long-term health as well, a cost of these lockdowns. And people like me were pointing this out, and there were many of us pointing this out, and everyone just called us granny killers because we said that we shouldn't actually sacrifice the future of this nation so that a few people in their late 80s or 90s could live a couple of months longer. And I'm sorry, we were right and you were wrong, and you've got us into this mess, and now you're saying, isn't it awful, we have to have higher taxes.
But again, you've actually said it right there. People died and people will die. Nobody's ever going to admit to backing a policy in which killed people. No matter how well-meaning it was, that killed people or led to children losing, education or anything like that, or made people's lives worse, caused people to lose their businesses. Nobody is going to admit to that and then say, but by the way, guys, this time we're all in it together.
For me, every political editor who sat at those press conferences every single day while I'm shouting at the telly from being locked in my home, every single one of them who never once said, what is the evidence for this policy, and what are the costs, financial and health-wise and mental health-wise and liberty-wise, of these policies? Have you done analysis? Every political editor who sat in those press conferences, and you know who you are, who didn't ask those questions, how dare you sit there today and say, isn't it terrible, we're in this economic mess? This is down to you as well.